We're almost there, guys. We know that some of you on YouTube are watching us set up here. This is what we have to do. So, um, you know, we have to do what we have to do. Um, but we're going to be coming. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes. Please hang on. Hang on with us. Oh, it would help if I pushed the button, wouldn't it? So, okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Okay, folks, we'll be ready to start our show in just a couple seconds. Just hang tight, everybody. And we're going to do this. Okay, folks, we'll be ready to start our show in just a couple seconds. Hang tight, everybody. And welcome to What's Cooking Podcast here on the Grill Live 365 online radio. We're here with journalist Charles W. Kim and Nicole M. Wells. Nicole's coming to you from the Garden State of New Jersey. I'm here in the Sunshine State of in Florida, in Orlando. How's it going, Nicole?
But otherwise, it's going okay.
And it's been quite a week. Did you have a good holiday?
It was good. Yeah, it was quiet, It was small, not because, we were told it had to be small, but just because, we're antisocial and we just kind of associate amongst ourselves. So, but it was good. How was yours?
Oh, pretty good. It was half the family here. It was pretty good. Um, so, oh wait, what's going on here? Oh boy, technical difficulties. Okay, we'll try this again. All right. So much for the audio version of what we're doing. My thing is not recording. I don't know why. But anyway, so we have some things to talk about today. I think that are important. We have a guest. We have Caitlin Cunningham from up in New Jersey, and Kate is for those of you who don't follow her on Facebook. She is fairly politically active. She's an advocate for veterans and the care of people who served our country, and she also has worked. She worked with me in 2018 on on a Republican candidate for Congress, Daryl Kipnis, an attorney out of Somerset, who was taking on Bonnie Watson Coleman in New Jersey's 12th district. Bonnie Watson Coleman, the Democrat. How's it going, Caitlin?
Hi, Charlie. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So it's been quite a couple of years here. So tell the folks a little bit about what got you into politics and what your level of activity is.
Sure. So I decided to get active in politics after I had been working with veterans. I found and had began speaking to Daryl in some great length about, what's going on in where I was living at the time in the district, about, how veterans have in my personal opinion, haven't been as focused on, as they should have. I know Bonnie Watson Coleman has voted significantly against veterans and their families, during numerous budget opportunities in which, could have assisted them. And, she keeps voting no down the board. And, it's disgusting to me. These men and women who put their lives on the line to sacrifice for our freedom can't even get somebody to vote to, ensure their benefits are protected or anything that could possibly benefit them or their families. It's unconscionable to me. I just don't understand it. So, I took a leap of faith. I, got involved as the veterans coordinator for Daryl Kipnis for Congress, who's running in the 12th district in New Jersey. And, I got very active, and I couldn't stand the fact that somebody who, would just not care about veterans is in office and is, representing the people. I mean, when I was going around and talking to people and meeting with them, I would say probably 8 times or 9 times out of 10, I would be speaking to these people and they would have at least one connection to the military, whether it's, they're somewhere within their family, whether it be a brother, a sister, an uncle, a grandparent. Our families go back, at least mine goes back to World War I, at least that, that I know of, that I've spoken of. I'm sure if I were to go down my line of family trees and just the, genealogy of it, I'm sure I can find much more information as to how my family has sacrificed their livelihood for this country. And just to know that somebody just is, so heartless, just it was grinding my gears to get involved.
Yeah, Bonnie Watts Coleman, to my mind, is doing a real disservice to the 12th District of New Jersey. Trenton is part of Trenton is in her district, and the city's in horrible shape.
Absolutely.
And she's so worried about virtue signaling with her cultural politics that she doesn't seem to care about what's actually happening in the city itself and the people that have to live there every day.
Exactly.
And what, aside from the political campaign and advocating for veterans, what have you been up to recently as far as your political activity?
Yeah. So I after the campaign, I ended up, getting involved still, with government and whatnot. I actually am now the executive director of 2 business improvement districts up in northern New Jersey. And so I actually represent over 1,500 businesses as a liaison between them and the municipality. And, since COVID has hit, it's the businesses are disappearing. I've done, I've been riding through the communities in which I represent, and between the graffiti, which is multiplying beyond belief, and the businesses that are closing. And now what I'm witnessing is these abandoned buildings, they've happened to catch on fire somehow, and now people are squatting in them.
Oh boy.
And I'm seeing this whole thing and that's not like, it breaks my heart. I'm like, and now I'm like getting in touch with the police director, and, we're looking up, information to start a program, an anti-graffiti program, because this is it's going to keep getting worse in these cities. It's just, I love what I do. I love how I work with the businesses, but I see change coming, and I'm trying to nip it in the bud. So it's been keeping me relatively busy. So that's what I've been up to. I like it. I enjoy it a lot. I've networked with a lot of people, and, a lot of people are feeling the impact from COVID. I mean, it's hit or miss. Some of these people, they're doing really well. Like, for instance, there's a catering company that actually, has been doing well because they actually had a connection with a hospital, and because the cafeteria was closed, they were donating meals and all this sort of stuff. So in that aspect, that one business has been, staying afloat. But as far as like nail salon or hair salon, or they're struggling. They're struggling significantly.
And that kind of brings us to one of the things we want to talk about today. Here's an article from Newsweek that lists every mayor or governor accused of breaking COVID restrictions. This comes from Newsweek.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Mayor Steve Adler, and by the way, these are all Democrats. Rules for thee, but not for me, as journalist Tim Pool in New Jersey said this morning in one of his segments. I'll bring this up. Denver Mayor Michael Hancock. Gavin Newsom, of course, of California, who's the Grinch, who was him, Murphy, and Cuomo, the Grinches. They're trying to steal Thanksgiving and Christmas from the folks, but yet they go out to dinners. But the dinner he went to, which was inside, nobody with masks, and, 30, 50 people, that was with medical professionals, supposedly.
Something.
Rules for thee, but not for me. So it's, COVID's going to get you if you eat inside, but not me, of course, because I'm the governor of California.
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo. And Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. There's our boy, Andrew M. Cuomo, the governor of New York, who is so worried about red and orange zones. And the question I have, though, is, he had such restrictions when this thing first started last year. Well, okay, then why, if you were so good and how New York was so smart and tough on this and everything, then why is New York cases going through the roof now? Anybody got any ideas?
I haven't a clue.
Anyway,
No.
so, and we have of course the famous video that was taken with Governor Murphy in New Jersey, where he was caught red-handed by a patron in a restaurant doing his thing without a mask. And but then he rushed really quick to put one on. So, so what are you guys' thoughts on all this? And Kate, I know that you were out last weekend with a group of Trump supporters.
Yep.
And you guys tell us about where you went. We have a little video. We don't have sound for it. And let me pull that up here real quick, if I can find it. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, go ahead, Kate. You can describe what's going on here.
So right there, we're standing at the Middletown DPW barricades that is blocking off Blossom Cove Road, which is Governor Murphy Street.
Okay.
Law enforcement is behind those barriers, which is, I would say at least maybe a quarter of a mile down at the main road from Governor Murphy's house, who's all the way at the end.
Okay.
On a dead end street, holding the line, explaining to us how we are not able to go past that line, and that it is now everything that I'm hearing. We're standing outside there, and you see the police, behind the municipal police, which would be Middletown Township, there's state troopers behind that barricade. And we're standing there, we're explaining to the police, hey, we're on a main road. We've been to Governor Murphy's house before. Why can't you let us back there? Why can't you allow us to peacefully express our First Amendment rights to exercise freedom of speech and peacefully assembling? So my constitutional rights were violated right there.
So now, were you guys, I don't know, were you breaking any windows?
No, we were just standing there,
Were you looting anything?
Excuse me?
Were you looting anything?
No.
Did you pick up any new pairs of sneakers?
No.
You didn't get any new sneakers out of the deal? What's wrong with you, Kate? That's like the thing this year.
Nothing.
So I mean, this was, obviously these people are not pleased with the lockdowns and the restrictions that are going into, because Governor Murphy has extended the state of emergency in New Jersey for another 30 days. So 15 days to stop the spread, day 260, whatever.
Yeah,
Of course he has.
Yep. And he's going to continuously do so without any sort of thought or, stop in his mind. Like he just will do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. He doesn't care who it affects. He doesn't care, how people are, their mental health is being affected by it. He doesn't care how their physical health is being affected by it. I know myself personally. Literally being locked in at home. They joke about the COVID-15. No, how about like the COVID-30, Governor Murphy? I've lost my, drive to go to the gym. I've lost everything. I literally, it's every single, he's going to be taking my rights away to even go, to the grocery store. And you know what I mean? And that's why people are panicking. And he says, oh no, I'm not going to lock down anybody, but I can't go in my favorite restaurant without wearing a mask. And if I don't wear a mask, they're going to be shut down because somebody, squeals. It's insane.
Well, for people who studied history, this is what the Nazis did.
Go figure, right? And it's funny that you say that because I was standing around speaking with other people, and I had said to them, I said, is this what they, and, I had my megaphone with me and people were passing it around and whatnot because this one wanted to be heard and that one wanted to be heard. And I was like, because, he was, he had the position being the ambassador for Germany. I said, is that what they taught you over there? Is that what they taught you, how to be a dictator? Is that what it was? Was he getting schooled for this? Is that what happened? He got schooled to do this, and now this is how he's implementing it here in America. No. I'm unapologetically condemning Murphy's actions entirely. I don't care.
Now, as this protest continued on?
Yep.
What happened?
So, people started, they started thinning out a bit. They found out, oh, well, we're not going to go to Governor Murphy's house. So, what's the point? And then people started thinning out. And then the police started driving their cars towards us, almost boxing us in. So they were automatically on the defense. They were automatically ready to go in and, start manhandling people. Literally, they had such aggression already. I've been to Middletown several times. I've never seen them act so aggressive in my life, unless somebody was literally told them or speaking to them about how they need to be aggressive towards us.
Now, are you normally a supporter for law enforcement? Do you believe in defund the police?
I tell the police every single time I see them, we back the blue. I'm out there chanting, back the blue, all the time. After what I've seen, I don't know what to believe. I'm torn. I'm torn because here I am, somebody who sees that they're being put in a very difficult situation, They have the power to either walk away, stand down, whatever, okay? And they're condoning this behavior. When they took a constitutional oath with their right hand on a Bible, with a witness and a judge swearing them in, and they're doing the opposite. They're doing the opposite.
Why do you think that? Now we've
taking an order from a dictator. That is what they're doing right now.
but why are they so seemingly scared to stand up and say, sir, that's unconstitutional. I'm not going to enforce it.
Because they're afraid of losing their pensions, they're afraid of losing their paychecks, and they're afraid of losing everything they've ever worked for. And I was telling other people last night when I was over at an event I actually ended up going to Staten Island last night, and I was speaking to the sheriff's officers.
So you were over at there was a gentleman in Staten Island. For those of you who are not familiar with what's going on there, he kept his bar open in defiance of the governor's edict that it should be closed down because he is in what they consider a red zone with a high spread of COVID. Where just 2 miles down the road, you can eat and whatever, it's like normal in a different colored zone.
Yeah.
And so what he did is when he opened his restaurant, the police came and they actually arrested him. And then there was a demonstration of several hundred people that came out, I believe, what was it, last night?
Yep, it was last night to support his autonomous zone that he declared as of November 20th.
So basically, he's doing the same thing as the Antifa folks did in Chaz.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that in Oregon?
That was Seattle.
Seattle, Washington. Yeah. They declared a certain block radius as an autonomous zone that was not going to recognize the authority of the U.S. government or police or whatever, and they would be their own country.
Yep.
So this guy in Staten Island, smart, he saw that, and they really didn't do anything to stop that. He said, okay, so my bar's in a autonomous zone. And then what happened, Kate?
So, I was out there last night, and I was telling the sheriff's officer, I was like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't understand it. I'm like, the money, literally, I was standing there just observing it, and I told them, I said, I was literally the last man out. Like, no joke. I was the last person to leave. Like, the only people that were there left at the location of Mac's Public House was either the sheriff's department or the news media. Okay. I was standing there in disbelief. I started to cry and I started praying the rosary because I'm like, God, how is this happening in America? How is this happening? I don't understand it. And I'm there praying. And I said that the dog, see, like my dog's barking, making me.
I hear you.
The dog, we love him. We love him. Hold on. They're asking me to get the leash. Hold on one second. And I'll keep explaining this to you. But what I'm saying is that the fact of the matter is that I was there telling these law enforcement officers who are, being put in a very difficult position. Like I said, to put their hand on a Bible, swear in front of a judge that they are going to uphold the Constitution. And these people literally are afraid to lose their pension and everything they've worked for and their retirement or whatever else. And literally it boils down to greed. That's what this is.
Well,
it boils down
I don't know if I'd call it greed. I mean, we all, every one of us.
No, but think about it, Charlie. They're worried about, listen, if the Lord always provides for you and you're a believer and you believe in God and, you know the Lord will always provide. Now, I'm not saying you have to be Christian, but if you have some sort of faith, you will always be taken care of if you keep your faith strong. You know what I'm saying? So
but that's a very hard. That is a very hard. I've had, as a journalist in the last 20 years, I've had moments where my principles have been challenged, and I've always been able to stand up for them. But after 20 years in the field, I have for a career that supposedly was successful, that's won awards and things. I have nothing to show for it. I have no money in the bank. My retirement's going to be Social Security, and that's it. I mean, being principled means you're not going to have a really American dream kind of life. Whereas a lot of these people have worked years to get to where they are as police officers or sheriff's department officers.
And that's what's so hard.
And they're going to get that. They're going to lose all that, and they have families. They have mortgages. And, maybe it's not such an easy I'm going to stand on my principle, and my wife and I will be homeless, and my kids are going to be homeless in 3 months. That's kind of a tough choice to ask people to make.
That's what I mean. It's a tough call. I mean, these people, these men and women put their lives on the line to protect and serve the people. But yet stuff like this is happening, and then they're getting orders that are unconstitutional, and they morally know what's right, but then they have to make that tough decision. Do I support this to keep a roof over my head, to pay and make sure my kids have food on the table, or do I stand up for what's right?
And that's, Jordan Peterson, who's a clinical psychologist and a professor, and he's gotten some heat from the left for a lot of his views. But one of the things he's studied and has lectures on that you can find online, which are actually very interesting, is the notion that we all, those of us living in 2020, and I've been around a little long. I've been around since '63, and in studying the Holocaust, we all would like to believe that we would have been the German citizen that stood up and said, "No, I'm not going to condone the execution of a race of people. I don't believe that Jewish people are rats and they're this and they're that, or what we're being told." And but the bottom line is that a lot of people, because of the social situation, good people didn't stand up. And I think that's what we might be seeing a little bit of here, maybe not to that extreme as what happened in Nazi Germany. But we're seeing these good local police officers,
I mean, if you see that video, just that the gentleman right there with the hoodie on here and the jacket, he actually asked the police and tried to move the barrier. And he was like, "What if I move this?" Like, just as a question. And the cop came fast and was about to slam handcuffs on him. And he was like, "I'm just asking a question." These cops were already so aggressive towards us. It's nothing, Charlie, like I've ever seen. I've been to Governor Murphy's house numerous times outside, marched to his house, been there. I've been there at least 3 times.
And meanwhile, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, they can march in the streets of Camden, Newark, Trenton, wherever, with impunity. If they're assaulting people, if they're damaging property, if they're looting, and the cops are ordered to stand down.
Yep.
And now here's somebody who just asked a question of an officer, and he was ready to get pummeled.
Yeah, literally.
So, but on the other hand, I don't think the police officers realize that right now what's going on, by them being this way, like you said, overly aggressive and all this.
Yep.
This is falling into the defund the police, Black Lives Matter narrative. They're showing now people who support the police, who support law enforcement, and maybe had a position against some of the demands by Black Lives Matter. I mean, I don't think anybody watched the video with George Floyd and thought it was a wonderful thing that officer did.
That was the most horrifying thing. It was like, it makes me sick about it.
But if you're going to make the case that most police officers are good, and I believe they are, but then the police officers are going to do those exact kinds of things, well, that gives credence to what Black Lives Matter is saying, is that, these guys are too roughshod on people and they have bad intent. and we should get rid of them. That we'd be better policing ourselves than having these guys with guns, with attitudes coming at us like this. And the officers in this situation with you are proving their point. I don't know. I don't know if they realize how much that looks. Boy, well, maybe officers are too aggressive. Maybe we have to outlaw this and that in law enforcement. Maybe we have to get rid of police officers. Maybe we need social workers. I mean, this falls into their narrative when you see things like this happening.
Yeah. I mean, I know I was very close to the gentleman when I was standing where he was taken down by the police. Now, there were some of us, the main road, the police had put up signs on either side. So if you were to be at Blossom Cove Road at Navasink River, which is the main road, it's like you're at a T intersection, okay? So where the police are facing outwards is the main road crossing, okay? And they had a couple yards down put, road closed signs and stuff because, there was no reason for the police to have that road blocked off if it's a no outlet, okay? Mm-hmm. No outlet, residential street, that they couldn't have pulled those barriers back about 20 yards or so. I'm saying this because Navasink River Road is a highly traveled main roadway. They even said that, okay? They had mentioned that to us. The fact that they had those barriers up left us on a main road. As you've seen and replayed this video numerous times, cars are going in and out of traffic. Those officers and those individuals who had stationed this ordeal by closing the road off put my life and everybody else's life at risk, because when they started coming through, to reopen the road, they had cop cars driving in, like I said, boxing us in. So there were cops coming from this direction and there were cops coming from this other direction as well. Okay. To the point where they literally were like putting the sirens on, the very loud, obnoxious, and so there were some of us, like myself and the lady who runs, her name's Barbara Holstein, NJ for Trump. She sat in the road and she's like, you're not, so, the way that they had orchestrated this whole thing is just how they put our lives in jeopardy. Okay. That they close off the road. We're sitting there because we're like, okay, like, you're not going to let us in, so we're just going to sit. Mm-hmm. And, then they had cops trying to, disperse us, and we're trying to exercise our First Amendment right. I mean, I don't know. They could have taken us off the main road. It wouldn't have caused a problem. But for whatever reason, as you see, they're lighter blue and, other state troopers behind the local municipal officers there. And they put all of our lives in risk. Like, that's what they did. And then they started when they had arrested the individual and, he didn't do anything. I don't know what caused them to arrest him, but I was standing next to him. And this officer, I guess he was a deputy chief. He had a white shirt on and his hat. I guess he was, senior to these other officers standing there. But he had started swinging his baton. Like, why are you swinging a baton at me? I'm just standing here. Trying to go to Phil Murphy's house. I'm not doing anything wrong. What makes you think it's okay to swing a baton at me? I showed no threat to them at all whatsoever. There was no threats. They were not being threatened. So I don't know where this whole, like, forceful, abrasive violence came from. They slammed somebody on the ground and arrested them. Well, let me stand corrected. They detained him. I've heard since this whole event had happened, they took him to a few streets over where his car was parked and let him go. What was the point of detaining him?
Well, they were probably trying to set an example, and they knew that it wouldn't hold up in court if they took him away. So that's why they let him go.
If they were going to do that, I would have let them arrest me too, or detain me. If they were just going to drive me in my car, I wouldn't have had to walk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Free ride.
Yeah, I'll take a free ride, sure.
Right? Why not? So
Yeah.
I don't have to be walking in the mainstream of traffic and be put in jeopardy. And then now, the next day when I go back there, now they decide to escort us with police vehicles from Phil Murphy's driveway all the way back down to the park for our safety. No, no, that's sketchy. That's
well,
sketchy.
The whole thing sounds sketchy.
It is sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not normal.
No.
It's not normal.
No.
I don't understand why they detained that gentleman. I have no idea. No idea at all whatsoever. We were peaceful. We were just hanging out there. All we wanted to do was go protest on a public street.
Yep.
A public street. Those people pay taxes.
I was just going to say, everybody pays for it, so why can't you use it?
So why can't I go?
Yep.
How many times have I supported local businesses in the state tax within Middletown Township when I've driven through? I've gone to McDonald's. I've gone to, the dollar store. I've gone to, Walmart or wherever else nearby. You know what I'm saying? Because all those state taxes get put back into the community.
Yep.
So why can't I go? Why can't I go stand out in front of Phil Murphy's house? It's like, it's one of those things you'll never know. You'll never know.
No.
If the one thing I find fascinating about this, well, not fascinating, but in a very bad way, from this year, if we were sitting there as we were during the Kitmas campaign and we were talking, if I told you that in 2 years' time, these things would be happening, we would be having tyrants, authoritarian tyrants rise up. And oh, by the way, I'm not talking about Trump. Fascist, authoritarian tyrants, Democrats, would rise up and literally shut this country down like a police state. What would you have said?
I'm like, Charlie, you're funny as hell.
You're nuts, right? Stop watching Alex Jones. You got a tinfoil on your head. Yet here we are. And with the Biden administration, if that comes to pass, probably not going to get any better. He's talking about a 4 to 6 week shutdown.
Be the final nail in the coffin.
I think for a lot of businesses, and this is something else that was pointed out. By the way, if you don't follow or watch Tim, first of all, you should be. If you like this show, if you like what we do with our podcast every week, Nicole Wells and I, we do our takes on the news and things. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, smash the like button on YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We need to build our subscribers so we can monetize the channel. If in the meantime, we do have a couple links below where if you want to help support us at Patreon and whatever, you can do that. Also, the podcasts are available on anchor.fm. But Tim Pool, who has a Timcast, and he's pretty good. You should probably follow him. One of the things that he noticed about all this and getting into a little bit of the money of things is that we've heard that since the CARES Act passed, some $4 trillion or $2.4 trillion in that bill alone, and that was a third of a series of bills with the COVID, that it was the biggest transfer of wealth to the upper class in America in history. And the justification for that is, the government sent a whole bunch of money to people because of COVID with expanded unemployment benefits and whatnot, and the PPP to keep the small businesses supposedly open, payroll protection plan. But what's actually happening is these small businesses are going out of business. Yet the larger corporate interests, your Walmarts, Amazon, in the food, your fast food restaurants that can stay open with just delivery and DoorDash and stuff, they're making money. But the money for your local mom and pop pizzeria is leaving the economy. And that is the money most communities use, is spread around to keep the community economically viable. What happens when basically these big corporate concerns, which are allowed to remain open and do their business during the COVID, just come in and are basically extracting all that wealth from the local communities and from the small business owners? What's going to happen?
I know exactly what's going to happen, Charlie.
What's that?
Is that those corporations are going to get so big, we're going to become so dependent on them that they're going to rule the United States of America and every, nook and cranny in between.
Well, see, this is the thing, and Tim brought this out on one of his Timcast posts today, and I thought it was very interesting. This is what Benito Mussolini said fascism was.
Yeah.
It is a marriage between business and the state.
Yep.
That control people's lives.
And how interesting. Phil Murphy used to work for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was doing.
But he's all about you, Caitlin. He's all for the little guys here. He's all
about me, all right, sure. Okay.
Yeah. He's
sure, Phil.
He's for the working people.
Sure.
and
Come and talk to me. Ask me how I'm doing. Ask me how this has been working out.
Exactly.
Well, he's so much for you. He's so much for you that he rolled out the welcome mat when you guys came.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because after all, but you do want to hear a diversity of opinion, do you not? Every voice counts. Every vote counts, they say,
really?
Unless you disagree.
Let me tell you something. There was some guy say I went and got gas, okay? And he asked me if he could do my windows. And I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I'll be generous. I'm the type of person, if I can help somebody, take it while I have it, right?
Right.
And I made a comment to him. I said, vote Republican. He said to me, what's that? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, never mind. Just take the $5. Hope it helps you out. What's that? I said, the Democrats are ruining everything. Like, I'm just like, it's insane to me. And they're not even Democrats. They're progressives. They're extreme, like, radical individuals.
Well, this brings us to something else I wanted to get into, and that's a very good segue. Thank you, Caitlin.
You're welcome.
By the way, we did not meet ahead of time and discuss, how we were going to do this show. Really, just some basics. But this is all organic as we're going through here. This is a chart.
Well, Charlie, then it's men. I should be on here all the time then.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't mind that.
That's fine.
But here's a breakdown. The voters in this election and the presidential elections going back to 1980 with Ronald Reagan of presidential vote in 100 counties with the highest 2019 median income. You can see where the Republicans have lost ground with these types of voters. And now the Democrats have the majority as of 2020. Mm-hmm. So to say since 1980 that it's, the evil rich Republicans and the poor hardworking Democrats. If you look at this median, this income here,
yet the
Democrats
are all about capitalism.
Right.
Go figure. The Republicans are all about capitalism.
But but the point is that since over time, the money in politics has shifted blue.
Because
Now they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to see that,
those people, they're manipulating them.
right?
They're manipulating. When I had this gentleman tell me what when I said vote Republican, and he's like, "What? What's that?" And I'm like, "Really?" I just thought to myself, I'm like, Lord, just watch over and just make sure that like people start waking up.
Now,
Because this is scary.
here's another interesting stat. These are presidential elections again since 1980, and this is the number of counties with the largest share of college degrees. Again, the majority used to be Republican back in Reagan's day. Look at it now.
Mm-hmm.
I think right here what you're witnessing is the brainwashing of several generations.
Yep. And if you don't follow the status quo, you're shunned.
And if you look, the real high numbers start to pop in with guess who? Bush Sr. to Clinton, G.W. Bush. Right here, I mean, this is interesting. When you think about how close the 2000 election was, yeah, that was pretty tight. But after that, Obama, and now it's crazy. That's a crazy ratio right there.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, here's the other thing I'd like to show you guys, because I have a ton of these. I love these things. This is the number of, let me make sure I have this right here. This is the number of counties, of money counties that that Joe Biden won compared to Donald Trump. And I want to make sure I get the full chart up here. Hang on one second. Where the heck is this? Videos. There we are. I just want to make sure the whole chart is there for you to see. So these are the counties in the United States by wealth. These are the biggest ones, like New York, Los Angeles, New York, Cook County, Illinois, Harris County, Texas, Santa Clara, Georgia. Right? These are the counties where 70% of U.S. GDP comes from. And Biden carried them.
Do you have the graphic up, Charlie? Do you have the graphic up? Because I'm not seeing it.
Neither am I.
There it is. All right. So what this means is Los Angeles. Okay. We all know California is like the fifth largest economy in the world on its own. New York. And again, but if you look at it also in the argument over the Electoral College, well, yeah, if you win LA, New York, and Chicago, you're probably going to win the presidency. There's only like 4 or 5 counties in America because of population that are worth like 10, 12 million votes right there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these are all the counties that Trump won. Now, Trump won. Biden's counties were less than 500 out of 3,000. Trump won more than 2,400 counties in the United States. Biden won less than 500. But the ones he won were powerful with people and money. But this is what happened. You know, if we're going to talk about getting rid of the Electoral College, why don't we shift over to this? Okay, Biden won 400 and Trump won 2,500. Trump wins 25 to 400. See, I can make it sound just like they do with the popular vote. If we go this way, yeah, but Trump won more of the country.
It sounds equally as ridiculous, whether you're talking about the county or regardless. So why are we even having this discussion? It's just as ridiculous. So why would you waste your time and your breath on it?
To prove a point. To prove a point that it's...
But it's not proving, because it doesn't prove
figures can lie and liars can figure. I could come up with a statistical argument.
It doesn't prove a point when they say it, and it doesn't prove a point when we say it.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds equally as ridiculous.
The Electoral College is there for a reason. It makes sure that all the states that somebody actually has to make an impact on a majority of states throughout the country and not just the cities.
Thank you. So why don't we just speak that? Because that's the only...
Because they're not listening. They don't understand. I mean, you're talking to people who don't know history. They don't understand it. They we're democracy, popular vote. Yeah, man.
And that's the result. The end result is what we're seeing today of the collusion between the Federal Department of Education and the mass media is really what you're seeing. It's playing out right in front of us.
That's true. That's true.
That's the real collusion story in this country.
And it's sad. You know, it's really sad. People don't understand why. And how many of them have read the Federalist Papers?
I'd wager not.
Where the founding fathers, several of them, came out and said, yeah, well, you don't really want a democracy. A democracy is two wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner. Right?
Yeah, it generally doesn't work out too well.
Well, especially when we're the lamb.
My point exactly. You
know, the Goldman Sachs guys like Murphy and Cuomo and the head of J.P. Morgan, they're the lions trying to figure out which of us are going to eat for dinner. That's what democracy in America today is.
It's something, Charlie. It's unfathomable. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, man, the founding fathers must be rolling in their graves.
No, they warned us about this so specifically.
My point exactly. They warned us.
But COVID, you're gonna die. This is so important. You're gonna die, Kate.
I know I am.
Give me a little bit, and this we can track back to
petrified.
This we can track back to 9/11/2001. Give me an ounce of your freedom, just an ounce, and I'll protect you.
Yeah, right.
What are they doing now? Give us a mile of your freedom, and we'll protect you.
Piece of pride.
You won't die of COVID, but you're never going to get this freedom back.
I'm well aware, and that's why people are fighting the good fight and out there being patriots.
They are, but then again, those of us on the right, those of us who are conservatives, we don't seem to be as good, organized, or as vehement.
Because people
on the left,
they're being brainwashed.
I mean, we're not marching. We're not marching in the numbers, and we're not marching as loud as other voices are, and that I think is a problem. I mean, no, I'm not saying to loot. I'm not saying to break.
I'm not saying that either. But hear my reasoning here for one moment. I've spoken to these people. I said, well, why don't we come out here tomorrow? You know what I get? You know what the response I get is?
I gotta work.
I have to work.
Right. Because and that's the thing, is that most of the right have jobs. They have lives.
They're getting paid by George Soros and all these extreme
Right. Where most of these left-wing types that are showing up at these protests, a lot of them either have nothing, no prospects, no work, no anything, or they come from really rich families. They're kids who live in their parents' basement, and their parents are pretty well off, so they don't have to work if they don't want to. It doesn't matter. They can come out and they can put the mask on, like, yeah, free justice for everybody, and this and that, and that, because there are no consequences for them doing that. Where most people on the right, if you have a job, yeah, where were you yesterday? Well, I was in Middletown protesting the COVID restrictions. That's why you didn't come to work? You're fired. I had a boss like that at an appliance store on the Jersey Shore. I've told Nicole about a lot of times.
I'll be honest with you. I've been spoken to myself about why my work performance is kind of lollygagging and is not really up to par. And, you know, I mean, here I am. I'm juggling my own personal life, my stressors, my this, my that. And I have my job. And then I have people that want to go protest every day, but we can't. And I'm trying to, like, you know, balance it all. And it's difficult. I mean,
right. Well, people who believe in personal responsibility, people who believe in most conservative principles, family, you know, personal responsibility, work equals reward. To them, going out and spending, I mean, it has to be really serious for them to go out to protest. It has to really be something that is untenable. And most of the things that we see,
it has to get people where it hurts them in order to actually physically come out.
Right.
You know,
and it's but I think it's starting. I think it's starting, and I think this demonstration last night in Staten Island is the beginning, is the seed.
Because this is getting out of control. This is getting out of control. These governors, they're dictators. They're dictators.
They're Hitlers. They're Mussolinis. They're Maos. They're Stalins.
There's a photo of Governor Murphy behind Joe Biden back in the Obama administration. I guess it was on Air Force 2 or something. Okay? With his son and all this stuff going over to Ukraine. Like, what?
As George Carlin once said, the late George Carlin once said, it's a small club and you ain't in it.
Clearly.
All this stuff. I mean, honestly, when you look at Washington today, I mean, when you think about it, all right, Pelosi, she wanted this big ass stimulus plan, you know, another couple two.
Oh yeah, and then she includes the Green New Deal in it.
Well, whatever. But she wanted this big stimulus plan. Republicans, Trump said no. But then Trump comes back and says, look, you want 2.4 trillion? I'll tell you what, I'll give you 1.8. Pelosi says no. Because she didn't, and she said it right to Wolf Blitzer on CNN. When he asked her, when he actually did some journalism at that point and actually held her feet to the fire and said, people are struggling, food banks are having lines down the thing. Why won't you agree to this $1.8 trillion that President Trump is offering? And she said, he just wants to do that so he can put his name on a check before the election. And Bush like, so that's what this is about? Oh no! It's look. I've represented these people for 30 years. I know from my people I represent. And now what is she going to do? It looks like there's a bipartisan deal for about $900 million that Biden and her are all hot to sign. Trump would have given them double.
No, it's not about the money. It's about the optics.
Right. It was about God forbid
included in those deals.
Well, yeah, there's all that too. I mean, look, Pelosi wants basically to bail Murphy and Cuomo out for years of New Jersey and New York not being financially responsible. And now they have huge budget holes. And yes, COVID's going to make the budget holes worse on, from tax revenue. Yes, definitely. But it's not the federal government's job to bail out the states who've not acted financially responsible for years and years and years. And that was the sticking point. It wasn't about the unemployment. Republicans and Democrats agree. The only thing is, oh, should we send 300 or 600 extra a week? That was the debate.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But do we want to send something? Yes. Do we want to send another round of stimulus checks? Again, the debate, should it be 800, 1,200, whatever, that's the debate. But do we want to send it? Yes. But we can't. Do we want to extend the payroll protection plan to more small businesses? Yes. But by how much and what parameters? But instead of arguing about those things that we all agree should probably happen, they're holding back for crazy stuff like the Green New Deal and stopping cows from farting and and Joe Biden, like he said during the debate, are you going to get rid of fossil fuels? Yes, I am.
Petroleum and blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on and on. Okay, they're not for the people. If they were for the people, they would have sent the money. They would have made a deal, and that's it.
Right.
These people are not working for us.
Well, that's my point. That was my point. That's my point. Is everybody, and there are some Republicans in this too,
but listen,
in Washington. These are the group, and we're not in it.
She's so strict about going and following CDC guidelines, but yet she's going in a hair salon that's been shut down without a mask. Okay. Then we go and see Governor Murphy out to dinner. Okay. We see Governor Murphy's parks wide open in his freaking neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Okay. And while everybody else's county parks are shut down and literally held at the line with, their New Jersey park, officers or whatever, park rangers. And this is what's going on. It's two for me.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
And the people are getting fed up. That's why they're starting to stand up. That's why they're going out and protesting and saying, why are you doing this to this brick and mortar? This brick and mortar who actually shows the American dream. And they have, does anybody know the history of Walt Disney? Or, I mean, not that I'm using that's a great example, but all these things that got started, Nestle Toll House, they all got started during very difficult times, during the Great Depression, and how they boomed. They had this idea. Is this the restart? Is this the new Great Depression?
Well, a lot of folks are talking about this as a great reset.
I don't know if I'm coming or going some days, Charlie. I don't know.
The globalists are saying this is the great reset, and that by like 2030, nobody will own anything.
Oh, marvelous. Well, I better start building myself a bunker then somewhere and not tell anyone.
And if you if you think about it, these are
the
moves.
Right? I mean,
these are the moves that are being made, because here's what's happening. Say you're unemployed. All of a sudden, the government is kicking in addition to whatever state benefit you were getting, 600, 300, whatever. For some people, they were making more money on unemployment than they were making working full time.
Yep.
But and with the extension of benefits, which is good. I mean, I'm unemployed. I need it. Hey, I'm not proud to say that. Too proud to say that. I'm unemployed. Yeah, you better keep those benefits coming until this stuff is over and I can go back to work. But the problem is,
they're almost making us dependent on it.
Right. And what's going to happen? What's going to happen down the road? I mean, this is all great when you talk about universal basic income, free healthcare, free college, whatever. Yeah, but here's what happens. Here's what's going to happen. And maybe not this year, maybe not next year, maybe not the year after, but soon, the government's going to come to you and say, look, we've been paying your way for the last 3 years. We've been giving you money for rent, for food, for utilities. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to go and do this.
Okay, what's
now this? All of a sudden, well, it doesn't matter. Dig a ditch, build a road, stamp paperwork. It doesn't matter. The government has that. Then we've gone Russian socialists into communism. And nobody's going to be objecting because we're so dependent on the government for our survival that all of a sudden the government's going to say, we reserve the right to tell you. I mean, if you've ever been unemployed, they pretty much do this already. If you want your benefits after a certain point, you show up here and we want to watch you send out 10 email resumes. And
at that point,
you have to be at the unemployment office at 9:00 and you can't leave till 1:30.
Yeah, right.
And you have to do these things.
No.
Otherwise, you don't get your check.
I don't want my check.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you need the check because you're unemployed, you have to do that. But now, how are you supposed to be going out? How are you supposed to be legitimately going out to find a job or to do anything to generate money for yourself if the government's telling you between here and here, you got to be here? What I'm saying is they're already doing this concept. They're already doing this concept. Now with the extended benefits and stuff, they will get a little more aggressive with it. It'll be like, well, now that we're paying you, we need you for the next 40 hours to do X. We need you to do Y. It doesn't matter what. The point is the government is now telling you what your job is. And this is how you turn that corner to what the Soviet Union was. I mean, if you were a great gymnastics kid at 4 or 5, the government came in, they gave your parents a nice apartment, they gave them food, they gave them whatever they needed, utilities, and all they had to do was make sure you stayed safe and you practiced your gymnastics because they were going to take you and put you in the Olympics and you were going to win big medals for Mother Russia. And this is what they did for years. Nadia Comaneci and Olga Korbut, these communist athletes, they would get up there and they would blow your socks off at the gymnastics they could do. They were getting 9.9, 10, 10, 10, 10 on the judges, kicking the heck out of Americans and anybody else who went up against them. Because since they were 4, the whole purpose in life for their family was that this person was going to win a gold medal. And the government would come in and take care of the family, or like the hockey players, until recent history, like since 1990, when U.S. pro athletes could participate in the Olympics. Now we put together a basketball team that whips everybody's butt. It didn't used to be that way. In 1980, the Miracle on Ice. It's because the Russian team they were like 12-year playing together veterans. The government sponsored every aspect of their lives, so they got to be that good. And we would put our amateurs up against them, and they get their butts kicked. Now that the pro athletes get to do it, now we're doing some butt kicking because we have professionals in there. Because these people in Russia were basically professional to begin with. But that's how it's going to work. Is that they're going to give us everything right now. Because they're going to give us everything because COVID.
The plandemic, as I call it.
Yeah, the plandemic. And then eventually, over a period of years, the government gets to tell you how you're going to live your life. And this is what the Democrats have been wanting since day one. They want to pull the strings and tell you.
This is where I get so frustrated, Charlie. Like, we're sitting here talking about this. We're awake. And, like, everybody else who we've met, talked to, knows the same thing. Why aren't we good? Like, why aren't the cops striking? Why aren't the people striking? F it all. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Why isn't everyone up in arms? My God, we were going. The media was going nuts 24/7 because Trump tweeted something stupid.
Yeah.
Because
they want to be labeled as this. They don't want to be literally.
He looked at Jim Acosta the wrong way in a press conference as 24/7. We're being taken over by authoritarian fascist state akin to Russia, Mao's China, Hitler's Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And we're rolling over like sheep.
Yeah. And here's the thing,
Americans are rolling over like sheep, having their constitutional rights ripped from them.
yeah,
I don't even
and
think they're ripped. They're gently taken from us because we're not putting up a fight.
no, we're allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
We're
And
allowing
that's
it
what
to happen.
bothers me. I mean, has the country gotten so out of sync with itself?
Honestly, it reminds me because people are saying, oh, well, if I had a Black Lives Matter shirt on, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Okay. It almost reminds me of history when the blue coats put on the red coats and they had to trick them. They had to trick them.
Yeah.
Think about it. They had to trick them.
What are your thoughts, Nicole? We haven't heard much from you in this segment. I know I've been rambling.
Sorry,
but-
Nicole.
No, it's fine. I'm surprised you got a word in edgewise because he's just talking over you.
She's always
But-
picking on me.
Yeah.
Because somebody's got to steamroll our guest. My God.
We're passionate. It's okay.
No, it's fine. He just needs to give you a minute to talk. But no, I mean, it's like I was saying before. I mean, the real story of collusion in this country is between the Federal Department of Education and the news media. Because if you get them when they're young and you start slowly watering down the curriculum as they go through school, you stop teaching civics, you stop teaching geography, you stop teaching history. You fill the curriculum with all this nonsense that nobody cares about, that doesn't actually prepare you to be a good citizen. So you go through, your 12 years of education with that. Then you go through college where, it's populated by communists. And then they indoctrinate you all through college. And then you come out and you are, programmed to listen, to be told what to think. And the news media just steps in there. And it dovetails very nicely. And you have an entire citizenry of that. And it's been going on at least 30, 40, 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm 34. It's been going on at least since before me. So 40, 50 years, I guess, is how long it's been in the works, if not longer. And that's how we got to where we are today. You don't have people sitting there, up in arms about it the way they should be, the way, they would be if they actually were still right-thinking citizens, because they've been conditioned over years and years and years and years of programming through school, through the media. They don't know how to critically think. They don't know how to say, this is not the way it should be. They don't know the way it should be because they've been...
And you say this, Nicole, we don't know how to critically think. And I'm sitting and thinking, remember we used to have those groups in school? You're my age, so you're about,
Yeah.
right? We would sit and critically think, right?
Yeah.
And I sit and think to myself, and I was telling my dad this, and I had the giggles one night, something awful, because if you don't laugh, you cry. I'm just like,
Yeah.
by no means, there was nothing hampering my ability to think at all whatsoever.
Mhm.
And I just had the giggles because it's like nervous laughter. I literally suffered from nervous laughter and I was laughing hysterically at myself. I called my dad. I said, Dad, guess what? I met my match. I found my group. We all used to get kicked out of class and now we're all outside protesting.
That's exactly right. And actually,
Right. Protesting, like,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
Oppositionally defiant, ADHD,
Yep.
disruptive, can't sit in your seat,
Yep.
fall down in class. And I'm like,
Yep.
why? Because I wasn't conditioned to your mold.
Yeah. Yep. I told Charlie.
Bungle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not, you know,
I told Charlie.
God bless. The time Craig told me, no.
I told Charlie I actually have gotten banned from Twitter.
I don't even go on Twitter because I know I'm a pothead. I would say something that I want to take back and they have it for life and use it against me. I don't even participate in it.
That's the thing is that I've never been on social media prior to 2 years ago. So, and that's because I had to create a Twitter account for a class in order to graduate. So I made this account.
Right? Way to indoctrinate you.
Yeah.
You don't do this, you won't get this.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
So I had to do that. And so I made this account. And now I tweeted, I was replying to somebody about something about Murphy. And I tweeted that Murphy needs to be tarred and feathered and run out of town like the worthless carpetbagger that he is. That was the tweet. And now they put a lock on the account. Initially, they told me that it was a 12-hour ban, but it's been locked for like 2 weeks, and they want me to remove it to unlock the account, but I'm not doing it. So it's been locked, but that's it.
Now that big corporation, once again, these big corporations are running us and making us. No, I told, when Mark Zuckerberg had his live video with Dr. Fauci, I said, what does technology and medicine have in common? I said, get the hell out of here. Why are you talking to him unless it has something to mutually benefit the both of you? Yeah. What does it have to do with? I want to know. And I'm telling you, people are like, oh, don't get so angry. What do you mean? I'm calling out BS. I smell it a mile away. Yep. I smell it a mile away, and I'm sick of it. I'm telling you, I think I want to just live off the grid, smash my phone. Yep. And I'm telling you, I want life to be when you see the memes, right? Yeah. You knew everybody was at this person's house when all the bikes were outside front. Yep. Yep. Right? Yeah. Where everybody was, because all the bikes were out in front of their house, and we meander on in. Ooh, I see the bike. I see their bike. I'm going to their house. Yep. Mm-hmm. Just it's sickening to me. It makes me nauseous. I'm telling you, I have gotten so upset and stressed out over this. I have ulcers. I've been like, literally, I've made myself physically sick over it. The stress, stress. Yeah. I'm so passionate. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I literally thought I was having a heart attack the other day. My doctor's like, Caitlin, you're still driving. You said you've had pain since how long ago? You're not having a heart attack. I'm like, really, like, and it's so nutty to me. Yeah. It's crazy times we're living in, for sure. It's and it's biblical. It's biblical, and I keep talking to people like, you better. I don't care if you pray to this weight. Okay, I don't care if you pray to the holiday decor that's hanging on the door. I don't care if you pray to the door frame. I don't care if you pray to the vacuum, the lamp. You gotta start praying for something. Yeah. All those prayers, I said, I hope every single one of you has the St. Michael's card, because you better start praying to St. Michael. You better. And it's not because I'm telling you to, or I'm threatening you in any means. I'm telling you, I'm talking biblical. You may roll your eyes. You may think I'm crazy, but let me tell you something. You're being put in a very difficult position right now. And when you're being put in a difficult position, your moral compass is being, it's being compromised. You know what I'm saying? By the evil that's in this world. Yeah. And they just better start praying. Yeah. I literally getting there. I'm telling you, I had my bullhorn under my arm, and I was standing outside of Mac's Public House last night out in Staten Island, and I was just staring at these cops. They thought I was probably crazy, just this woman just staring at them. And my tears started running down my face, and I'm like, I'm praying the rosary, like silently in my head to myself. I'm praying a decade of the rosary, because this is so sick. So sick. Yep. I don't even get it. I don't. And I think it's like, everybody's like, oh, I'm moving to this state. I'm moving to that state. I'm getting out of these blue states. I'm going westward. And I sit and think to myself, wow, the true believers went westward. They went westward. They fled. They fled to save themselves. And it's something. It's really something. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's sick. It's sick. I don't even know what to do anymore. I know people that are afraid of losing their jobs and coming forward. Oh, I don't want to be associated with this one. I don't want to be associated with that. I don't know who's going to show up here. I'm not going to know who shows up here. And I'm like, why are you so afraid? Stop it. It's funny. It's funny you say that, because my church, we joke all the time that one of these days it's going to be the arrested mass, because we have church out in the parking lot, and it's the most amazing feeling. It feels like a camp revival. Like it's amazing to me, the feeling that comes out of that. And we are just there, and we delve at a political protest. We're like, if anybody asks, this is a political protest, so we can be here and we can do this. And it's just so amazing to me. But we joke all the time that we're in jeopardy of being shut down. If Murphy decides tomorrow that he wants to sit there and close all the churches again, we're not stopping. We're just going to keep going. And I mean, we're like the black sheep of the diocese, but we're okay with that. And where are you? St. Vincent's in Yardville. Really? You should come. You should come. Sunday, 10 a.m. It is an amazing experience. It is an amazing experience to be there. And just to hear, I mean, Father Stan he's like Billy Graham. He's like a Catholic Billy Graham.
and he is amazing. And he's fearless. I mean, he's like, we have to be fearless in today's day and age. You have to have, a Joan of Arc spirit. You have to have a St. Michael spirit. You just can't be afraid. You can't hide under the bed, and be protected all the time. You have to take some risks. But yeah, I mean, if you can come sometime, because I think you'll be inspired by it. It's really something, and it's just an amazing experience.
That's the one thing that's really been getting me, because I have such a strong faith and I was brought up so strict. I went to Catholic school, and just to know I can't even go to church, can't pray, like you can't go and say a prayer, you can't light a candle. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, we're fighting back at St. Vincent, so you should come. I think you'll really be inspired by it.
Definitely.
Yeah. We're really a whole bunch of non-believers in this nonsense that's going on around us, this collective psychosis. We really don't believe in it. I mean,
what's the diocese said about all this?
Oh, the diocese is, the usual lockstep of, let's all be safe, and, you're okay. It's okay to watch, the mass from home, and, everybody has to stay safe, and this, that, and the other thing. But I mean,
yes.
Huh?
They're buying into the BS.
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's to be expected. We've never been friends with the diocese. We'll put it that way. We're kind of the rebel parish of the diocese. So, yeah, so we don't, I mean, let's put it this way. We're doing like hymns like Battle Hymn of the Republic at my church mass.
Good. Good.
So yeah, it's a good time. And it's definitely, I mean, you feel like you're floating like 10 feet off the ground when you leave. You are just so inspired by the feeling there and the message. That's
the power of religion. That's the power of God running through your veins.
Yep.
That's no coincidence. Nope. I'm telling you, every single time I've been to a service, I'm telling you, I feel so like rejuvenated. Like you said, inspired. Like I feel like I'm ready to go. Like I needed that. Like I needed that spiritual healing. It's a healer. That's healing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's really sad, because we're looking at areas. And the thing is, the Supreme Court came down with that ruling that said that Cuomo couldn't block people from going to worship. And yeah, he just basically said, oh, well, that's okay. That executive order expired anyway, and he's just going to come up with a new one.
Until he does.
Well, he will. He will.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, but again, I mean, these are our basic rights. I mean, it's like these people, they never learned what the Bill of Rights is.
Oh, or wait.
Well, how many people think that Biden is actually the president-elect right now?
Because it's above his pay grade.
Yeah, that's a winner. That's a gem.
But how many people right now believe that Joe Biden is the president-elect?
So many people that are brainwashed.
Yep.
Nothing. And the funny thing about this is 4 years ago, the Democrats were all about this. Oh, there's nothing final to the Electoral College, and you guys can go in there and vote for Hillary. You don't have to vote for Trump. You can go in there and be unfaithful and not vote for Trump. That's what they said 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Into December. I'm wondering how you had Democrat idiots like that shithead Green, who the first day Trump was in office, he got up on the House floor and wanted to impeach him. Trump took the oath of office 5 seconds ago, and you're up on the rise to impeach the president. What an idiot! You're a moron. Anyway, these people don't understand that until the Electoral College meets, if there are discrepancies in the election, now's the time to iron them out.
Mm-hmm.
And the Electoral College is designed exactly with this in mind. Somebody wins the election.
It's so interesting how they knew how to operate and foresee this. Can you imagine how brilliant those men were? Can you
Yeah.
imagine how brilliant?
Divine
know
providence.
Mm-hmm.
Guided by divine providence.
Genius. That, like, talk about winning a Nobel Peace Prize. They should have won that 10 times over.
Well, they did. They started a nation, the greatest nation on
I
earth.
know that, Carly, but what I'm saying is that, like, you know, they're not being given a heck of a lot of credit for it, as they should be, knowing that we're in these times and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And really, we should be thanking them and be so forever indebted to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have the left who want to throw it all out. The left wants to throw it all out. They want to throw out everything. I mean, they want to they want to get rid of the Electoral College. They want to get rid of police. They just want to burn it all down and start all over again.
We'll go somewhere else because it's not going to happen here.
And we keep saying that, but it's every day another baby step, another baby step, another baby step.
I'll be out there standing, protesting, exercising my First Amendment right. I'm not slowing down. If anything, this is giving me more drive. These conversations, these realistic, emphasis, just these realistic facts that this is actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's putting the adrenaline running it through my veins so heavily. I'm not stopping, and nobody's gonna tell me otherwise. I'm gonna be like, no. It's so funny because I have this little app on my phone. People like do their own podcasts on there, and I'm like, I literally say, "Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm from New Jersey, and I love Trump." And you should see the swipes I get. Like,
I can imagine.
Next. And then they're like, "Oh, well, I like him too." I'm like, "Well, speak up. What's going on?" Like, and we talk and we have some very interesting conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are slowly starting to wake up and they're telling me stories about where they are. And they're like, what? It's going on there too. And I'm like, where are you? Living under a rock? Like, how this is happening?
Yeah.
You're not the only one. And they're like, oh, I got to get out of here. I'm like, well, you better start packing up now. Well, I can't get a moving truck for like 3 months. I'm like, well, gives you time to sort through your stuff, or you better start figuring out what you want, what you don't want, mail it. I don't know what you got to do. Just get, wake up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
it's stuff like that. It's crazy. I mean, this tyranny has to end. Just the fact, I mean, people, oh, this one's getting that charge dismissed. The woman who had the health and tennis center up in northern Jersey, dismissed. The judge dismissed it. I'm like, really? So what was all that for? Mm-hmm. What was all that for?
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're kind of at the end of our time. We've been going for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you, Caitlin. It was some really good conversation today.
Yeah. I'm so glad. I'm so honored and I'm so happy you asked me to do this because
we'll have you back.
Not here. I mean, I hope this gives somebody else some perspective on what's really going on. They need to wake up.
Yeah. If you're out there, keep those videos coming.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
We will show them.
Yeah.
If you, and I know I think half the time on Facebook we had maybe an audio problem, but I think that's been fixed. In either case, if you saw this podcast and you like it, please hit the like button, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and also visit us at Patreon, PayPal, or Anchor FM to help support us. We do this every week. Nicole M. Wells and I come in and we try to give you some perspective on the news. You may like us, you may not. You may agree, you may disagree, but that's fine. But anyways,
just run the mouths, really, truthfully.
But we hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back next week with another edition of What's Cooking. We'll see you next week.